Hey, I'm Eddie from Gamersfire.com, and today I'm bringing you my first impression review of Brawlhalla. Now, just to clarify, I know this game is only in beta, so many things could still change before the final release. But now that that's out of the way, Brawlhalla is probably best described as a Super Smash Bros. Clone for PC. It's fast-paced, 2D arena combat with up to 4 players in a match. To start off, I'm going to talk about the user interface. In this case, that really means the menus. How easy is it to get around and get a game going? The main menu is very clear and straight to the point. It has Couch Party, Single Player, Online, Custom Online, and Ranked 1v1. You go to Online to jump straight into whatever match is open, or Custom Online if you want to make a game with friends or join one a friend has made. These will probably be the two sections you use the most, as they are how you just get a game going. Up in the top right, you can get your options and your Steam friends list. I always appreciate it when a game automatically has my Steam friends list imported in. It just makes my life way easier when I want to join up with someone for a game. The only real critique I would have of the main menu is that you have to go to the options menu to exit the game. This took me a second to figure out the first time because I was just looking for an exit button somewhere. Next is the character selection screen. Not a whole lot to say here because it's simple and effective. You can see all the available characters, then once you pick one you can customize various traits depending on what items you have for that character. The map selection screen is equally straightforward. I will say though that I had some troubles where I would click on the selection I wanted and there was a delayed response. My vote wouldn't go in for another several seconds or sometimes not at all. One time I clicked then waited, but by the time the vote was actually cast I had moved my mouse and I ended up accidentally voting for the map it was on instead of the one I wanted. This could have been an odd one-time occurrence, but it's still worth keeping in mind for if it happens to you. Next up is the visuals. Normally in this part of the review I geek out on techie topics such as shadows and ambient occlusion and so on, but this isn't that type of game. This game is focused more strongly on the artistic value of the design, and that focus has paid off. What you get is a perfectly cartoonish and whimsical world to beat the crap out of your buddies in. The different maps all have their own style and appeal to them, from a simplistic industrial stage, to a close quarters flat platform set as the main event in an arena, to a stage with multiple moving platforms and a beautifully designed castle and waterfall in the background. The characters are just as fun and out there, but still instantly give an idea of what the developers were thinking with them. Minotaur, Viking, Knight, Alien, Pirate, and so on. You'll be able to very quickly choose one or two favorites that you'll get attached to. Personally, I like to play as the Viking because I'm Norwegian, or the Minotaur because I'm a Taurus. The only potential downside to these characters is how upset people might get if they're joining a game and their go-tos are already taken. Overall, the visual design of this game is colorful and just generally fun. The audio in this game does exactly what it's supposed to. It didn't particularly stand out to me, but then again with things like this, that can just mean that they're doing their job. I will say that the overall style of the audio design fits perfectly in with the cartoonish and fun style of the rest of the game. And the last area to cover is the gameplay. Gameplay is the most important part in any game, and that is especially true in a game like this that doesn't focus on any new technological advances. And to put it simply, they nailed it. I'll admit, I was skeptical going into this game because everyone was describing it as a Super Smash Bros. Clone, and I am not a fan of Super Smash Bros. But this game had me begging my friends to play just one more at the end of each round. To start off, the game has a relatively simple control scheme that is very approachable, even for someone who is new to this type of game. When we recorded our Let's Play, I was playing on a keyboard and Franz was using a controller. While I'm sure there are advantages to the analog stick, I couldn't believe how easy the game was to control with the standard WASD movement. Then you get your other hand on the keyboard covering H for throw, J to pick up items and perform light attacks, K for heavy attacks, and L for a sort of block/dodge that I don't really have down yet, and you get an overall incredibly intuitive and easy to use control scheme. Now this is an intense game, which is a good thing, but I do need to point out that it is very easy to lose track of your character. We had several moments of just mashing buttons hoping for the best because we weren't even sure which side of the map we were on. A simple arrow that hovers over your character's head would be a great small addition to the game that has a large impact on being able to keep track of what's happening and plan your strategies better. Speaking of the characters though, their design really has great effects on the gameplay. They all have their different stats that play into how you use them, but I didn't notice any character being affected by them to the point where they were unusable for my playing style. They just all had their own feel to them. Each character also has two weapons to use that can generally be summed up as a light weapon and a heavy weapon. though some characters replace one of those with a ranged weapon. These different weapons are really what make the characters unique from each other. When you start out, everyone is just going at it armed only with their fists. Weapons drop down, and when you pick one up, you don't know which weapon you're going to get, so it can create a gamble if you want to throw your weapon and dodge everyone's attacks just to get to what could possibly be the same weapon again. And finally, the maps themselves are the final piece of the gameplay. Not only are they fun to look at, but they're fun to play. They all have their little tricks to them. Differently arranged platforms create specific paths across the maps, sometimes forcing you to choose a high road or a low road to get from one side to the other, a simple choice that can lead to a quick death. And the random spawning of weapons, including bombs and spike balls, can line up just right sometimes with a group of players fighting perilously close to the edge. Some platforms are thinner, indicating that you can move through them up or down, but a downward attack from an opponent can also send you down through them, so hanging out in these sections is a good way to get sent straight off the bottom of the map. Though most times when you go off the edge, you can use your double jumping and wall jumping to make your way back up into the action fairly easily. So what's my first impression? This game is fun, unbelievably fun, maybe even criminally fun. If you're looking for a game to just jump in quick with your buddies and have a great time, this game will give you exactly what you need. So that's my first impression review of Brawlhalla. If you have anything you want to add, let us know by putting it in the comments below, or heading over to the forums at gamersfire.com under the community tab. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to catch all the new lists, let's plays, and reviews as they come out. Bye.